Hey, welcome to FiddleHed. Gonna play the tune Wild Mountain Thyme for you and add some variation. Sweet tune, hey? So now that you've heard it, let's learn how to play it. So whatever level you're at, I recommend playing some form of the D major scale to kind of warm up your fingers, actually feel physical warmth. Another way to do it is to just play the notes on one string, but then try to build up some speed. Maybe slur 4. Bigger slurs. And just start to really feel a sense of warmth, but then also use a drone track and really try to get your notes in tune as well. Alright, so, well, let's just get started. The way I like to do these variation lessons is to play a very basic version, and I have a lesson on the basic version, and then tell you what I added, play for you what I added, and so it's a little bit more freewheeling. So let's get into it. First quarter of the song. Alright, so when I taught the basic version of this, and I got a lesson up for that already, we would do this. Okay, so now I'm going to take that and show you what I added to it. First of all, instead of doing long notes for the pickups, I did quicker eighth notes. Alright, and then I added, so I'm just going to now play the entire variation. That would make more sense. Very slowly, deliberately. Okay, with flow. Just to talk through, so we have the quicker pickup notes. 1, and then 1, open 1, 2, D, and then a triplet 1, 2, 1. So it almost acts as a pickup too. So far we have. And you would slur those 3 notes. And then I add a cut. So in the basic version I have a long D. Here I'd add a cut, which is a quick flick of the first finger. Again. You just almost touch it, kiss the string very lightly. So that's a cut. And so let's back up. This lesson is part of the Irish Fiddle Journeys course, and in it I go into detail like focused exercises for each type of variation. Like the cut can be practiced in very simple ways. You don't always have to do it on a tune. You can kind of come up with exercises that involve 1 or 2 notes. Or you could do these variations on scales. Alright, so that's the cut, that's the whole first quarter. So let's do it twice in a row. Looping it. And when you do these kind of fast things, the more you can relax your hand, the better. Really try to make your left hand soft. You can practice this without even playing. Just kind of practice touching the strings very lightly, lifting very little. All right? So soft touch, little lift. That will help you to play these things faster. And another thing I mentioned in the Irish Fiddle Journeys course is we do lots of trills exercises. That'll help you build your speed as well. Okay, so now we'll move through the rest of the tune a little bit more quickly. Let's move on to the second quarter of the tune. So the very basic version I taught was, for the second quarter, was this. And now here's the variation. All right, so now I'll break that down a little further, really slowly. Let me do it again. Okay, so we have a pickup of D, 1, 2, A. Landing on A1. Next little bit's a triplet, 2, 1, open. It's 2, 1, open, and slur those. Okay, so that's the second quarter. Let's move on to the third quarter. So the basic version I taught for the third quarter was this. A note about basic versions, it's a good idea, even if you're more advanced player, to try to really simplify tunes as much as possible, so then you can be creative with them. You can add back stuff, you can add all kinds of stuff, or just keep it as it is. Sometimes just an open, simple melody played with a good sound is the very best thing. Anyhow, so that was the basic. I'm going to now play you the things I added to it. And with this tune in general, compared to some of the other variation lessons I've done in the Irish Fiddle Journeys course, trying to just keep it really melodic, remembering that this is a song. So even though like this is kind of a fiddle break almost we're doing, I really want it to sing because it's a song. So I like singing, and I try to think of the playing I do on the fiddle sometimes as singing. And you can do that too. In fact, practices, you can actually sing what you play. Maybe we'll do that after this third quarter. So the whole thing with flow. So this kind of veers a little bit more from the basic. Here's the basic for this quarter again. Now here's the variation again. I'll break it down. So just a triplet, 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, open, and then G high 3 to D. I'm doing a lot of slurring in this song. Apologies for not being more definite about it. When I play, I rarely do it exactly the same way twice. People have been asking me about bowings recently, and basically what I try to do is present a version on the site with sheet music with a good way to do slur patterns, but then just know that I don't always stick to it. That's just a suggested thing to start, a starting point for you, okay? Hopefully that helps. A lot of you want to know very particular slur patterns, and so I provide them. But in general, you just start experimenting and feeling what feels right, okay? So one more time, third quarter. And now let's do the fourth quarter. Here's the basic way I taught the fourth quarter. Here's the variation. So as you can hear, it's really, you can still hear the melody. It's not that crazy of stuff I've added. I'm adding subtle things. So I added the same pickup, 1, 2, D1, 2, and then D2, 2, 3, and then a triplet, 2, 3, 2, landing on 1. So far we have D, G2, D. That's the whole fourth quarter. All right, so now let's do the fifth and final quarter. So in the basic version, I exactly duplicate the first quarter. All right, and in this version, I wanted to just, because it's a variation version, I wanted to give you something slightly different for the fifth quarter. So this variation version, the first quarter was, and so now we're going to do this in the fifth quarter. So I just added a roll. So after that G1, we're going to do a roll. And that's 2, 1, open 1. So rolls are basically, you kind of go 1, 2, 1, open 1. You start, you have a bass note, whatever that is, that you're creating the variation from. You go up, you go back, you go down, and back up. And so you can practice this. It rolls very methodically with focused exercises on each string where you start slow. Right? It just takes time. It takes time, time to get your fingers relaxed and quick to do that. So please be patient with it. And then you could do that on every other string, every other fingering and string. So basing your roll around G2 or G3, and then all the other strings. Okay, so cool. We have the whole thing. Now let's just listen to the entire tune with a play along track very slowly. And if you feel free to either just listen or play along if you're ready to play along.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
All right, cool. So if that play along track was useful to you and you liked doing that, then please check out this lesson on FiddleHed.com. It's free for 1 week, and there's full-length play along tracks that gradually speed up for you. There's also full-length play along tracks for each quarter. So you would spend time looping each quarter, and so that means that if you had trouble with, say, the fifth quarter doing that roll, you could just stay with that for a while. And this system trains people not only how to play the particular tune we're learning, but how to practice, which is a really important thing. I try to sneak into all the lessons because I think that if you practice well, you're going to succeed. You're going to want to do it every day. And so I really try to break these tunes down. So anyway, check it out on FiddleHed, free for 1 week, and it's part of the Irish Fiddle Journeys course. And even if you don't, thanks for watching this far and hanging with me throughout this lesson and all these lessons. All right, so I think that's it. One last note on how to practice this. If you've learned the basic and you learn the variation, I still recommend you return to the basic version I taught, or at least a more basic variation. And what that'll do is if you kind of alternate between the basic and the variation, you'll start to see the creative potential in these tunes. And I also recommend doing this process on small bits, like even like 1/4 or part or 1 bar. Go between something really basic, then add your variation back to the basic. It'll help you to get the variation, and it'll also help you to figure out what you can add to other tunes, and not only what you can add, but what you can take away. Maybe you've encountered some sheet music. There's a whole bunch of crazy embellishments on it. You'll now have a sense of like, well, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do all those things. I know how to simplify the tune because I've practiced this basic and variation method. All right, so cool. Thanks again to all of you for watching. Really appreciate your kind attention. And okay, have fun. Go fiddle with it.
Go to FiddleHed.com for a progressive step-by-step course outline, color-coded tabs, play-along tracks, sheet music, and much more.
Thanks for watching the video. Excellent.
And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.